99% of people trying to break into cloud engineering right now will still be stuck next year in the exact same spot. They'll have more certifications, thousands more hours of tutorials behind them, but no interviews, no offers, and certainly no dream cloud role. And this is not because they are lazy or they're not smart enough. It's actually because they fundamentally misunderstand what progress actually is and how to compress timelines so they can achieve in 3 to 6 months what most people, quite frankly, can't achieve in a lifetime. I'm Suleiman. I've been in tech for more than 11 years, from IT apprentice to running my own businesses across cloud AI consulting, my software company, StudyTech.ai, and my academy, where I've helped more than 900 IT pros, engineers, and career switchers master cloud engineering and land six-figure roles, including at companies like AWS and Microsoft. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to learn cloud engineering so it actually sticks, because the way that you're doing it right now is the exact reason why you are stuck. And I've broken it all down into 5 steps. And if you follow all 5, you'll land the cloud role most people are still trying to chase 2 years from now. Let's get into it. Firstly, you need to understand the trap that's keeping you stuck. Otherwise, you won't be able to fix it. Now, it goes something like this. You've probably got a certification or 2. Maybe you've started a couple of Udemy courses as well. You've got pages of notes on every single AWS service. On the surface, you think that you've done everything right, but then the interview finally comes and they ask you one question. We are onboarding 100,000 new users next month. Walk me through how you'd make sure that the platform holds up. And what happens? Well, you freeze. Why does that happen? Because everything that you've studied so far taught you the what and the how. You know what S3 is. You know that Lambda is serverless. You've been following everyone else's steps the entire way through, but nobody ever asked you why. Why this service over another? Why this design holds at 100,000 users whilst another one fails? And if you've never had to answer a why, then you haven't actually learned anything. You've just been collecting information. That's why this type of question throws you off, because you actually have to reason through it like a real cloud engineer would. And up until now, you've simply been copying and pasting notes or watching someone else build a tutorial. Now, the worst part is all of that studying and learning felt very productive. It felt like you were making progress and you were achieving your goals. And that is the trap, because the moment that you close the tutorial, your understanding just simply goes with it. So before anything else, we have to change what you are measuring. Now, don't be like those bots that comment on this video saying, I've got 5 certifications, but I can't get a job. Well, obviously. So yes, we need to stop counting the hours, Udemy courses, and certifications. And there is only one question that tells you whether you're actually making progress. What problems can you solve today that you couldn't solve 30 days ago? And if you're sitting there thinking, well, not many, then listen up, because that's exactly what we're about to fix, starting with number 1. Instead of starting with the services and trying to memorize your way up, you start with a real problem and work backwards, because that's how the actual job is day to day. Nobody hands you a list of services to work on when you're a cloud engineer, right? They hand you a problem to solve. For example, a startup runs their whole application on a single server. It works fine at 1,000 users, but a marketing campaign is about to bring 100,000 users. Their budget is tight, so whatever you design has to cost almost nothing when things are quiet. Now, at this stage, you won't be able to design this solution, but what you're doing is creating a mental model where everything that you learn now to plug into this solution has a real purpose to it. You're not memorizing what a load balancer is or how it works, right? You are actually working out whether it solves your traffic problem and what it costs the company the other 365 days of the year. You're not reading about autoscaling because it's module 7 of some random Udemy course. You're reading it because your design fails without it. And look very closely at what's happening here. The project brief that I just gave you is forcing you to answer the why. Why this service and not that one? Why this design holds when a spike hits? The exact question that froze you in that interview is now the question that you practice every single day. And that's why this approach sticks, right? Because it's leveraging how your brain works to your advantage. When you learn something to solve a problem, it's tied to a decision and a reason. So your brain naturally holds onto it. When you learn it off a flashcard, there is nothing for it to attach to. So it's simply gone by the next day. Where do you get project briefs from? Look at your own life. Whatever industry that you have experience in, you understand their problems better than most people. If you worked in healthcare, design a system that handles patient data, where privacy and security are non-negotiable. If you worked in finance, design the infrastructure for a banking app that can never go down and manage who can access what. This way, you're leveraging your previous domain knowledge and adding it to your resume. And that combination is exactly what makes you stand out. Now, Working the project briefs is only half of it. Step 2 is how you make sure it's actually going in and then turn it into evidence. At the end of every session, close it all down and rebuild what you've covered for a blank page. Sketch the architecture from memory. Explain it out loud like you're already in an interview, because one day, soon you will be. If you can't explain it simply with nothing in front of you, you haven't learned it yet. And it's far better to find that out tonight, alone at your desk, than in front of a hiring manager. Then make it public. And I know I keep drumming on about it, but it really works because my students are doing this and recruiters are messaging them directly once they started posting. So every project brief that you finish, write up about it and post it. The problem, your design, the trade-offs, what broke and how you fixed it, all on LinkedIn. This does two jobs at once. Firstly, it keeps you accountable. Secondly, you're building in public. By the time that you apply, you're not just another candidate with certifications, you are someone with months of documented problem solving that anyone can see with a click of a few buttons. And by the way, if you want my help to land a six-figure cloud role, then just check the link in the description below and book a call with my team. We are busier than ever right now because we're getting results virtually every single week. Cosmin just got hired as a cloud engineer after 6 weeks with us. Mac went from IT help desk to systems engineer at AWS. Rob went from tech support to cloud infrastructure engineer in just 7 weeks, and he also picked up a second offer at IBM. Salim just landed a cloud security role at American Express, earning over $200K a year. Silas switched careers at 42, and now he's a platform engineer. We've got John, Eddie, Travon, Tomislav, Dominic, the list goes on, right? You see the testimonials. So if you're serious about landing a cloud role in 2026, links in the description below to book a call with my team. Now let's address the thing that most of you are quietly worried about. You've seen AI generate Terraform, the code that builds cloud infrastructure automatically. It can spin up a whole project and walk you through every single step. So somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a voice asking, am I about to spend months learning something that's getting automated away? And look, if your entire value to an employer is that I can follow instructions and deploy something, then yes, you're competing with Claude and ChatGPT. And let's be real, you will never win that race. But here is the actual reality, right? AI-generated code ships over 1.6 times more bugs than human-written code. So when that generated infrastructure has a security hole in it, who gets the blame? It's not going to be AI because AI can't take accountability or even responsibility. It's you, the cloud engineer. And that's part of the reason why the role isn't disappearing, along with a lot of fear-mongering from CEOs trying to raise capital. That said, the role has shifted up. It's not as much about coding and executing tasks and more about judgment and decisions that you have to make, which means that your job is to get exceptionally good at complementing AI and not fighting against it. And this is the hottest topic in tech right now. Go look at cloud job listings. Employers everywhere want engineers who are AI native, people who can use these tools fluently while still owning the decisions behind them. And there's 4 key areas that you need to own. Firstly, system design. For every project brief, instead of jumping straight to AWS services or tools, you sketch the design first and force yourself to justify each decision out loud. Why this service over another? What does this cost? What breaks spurs under load? Because this is how the work splits now. You design system and AI can help you build it. AI can write the code in seconds, but it doesn't have the context. It doesn't know the budget, your timeline, your team, or what the business actually needs. Those decisions are always going to be yours and owned by you. And the cloud engineer who can make them is the one that will get hired. Secondly, fixing things when they break. The way that you train this is by running scenarios on your own projects. Take something that you've built and start asking what ifs. What happens if I change this security rule? What breaks downstream if this component goes down? What if 10 times the user showed up tomorrow? Where does it all fall over first? And how would I fix it? You're playing out the failures before they even happen. So when something does break in a real job, you're not panicking. You've already simulated this. And you can use AI to help investigate and suggest fixes. But now you've got the mental model to know which fix is the right one and why it broke even in the first place. Thirdly, explaining yourself. Every project that you finish, write it up like someone else has to maintain it and practice explaining your decisions out loud until they come out clean and coherent. Because not only will you be expected to do this in an interview, but in a real job, you're always talking to product managers, to finance people, to non-technical people basically who don't know what a subnet is and don't even care. So you must be able to communicate effectively to different teams and stakeholders. And fourth, probably one of the most important, is business context. And nobody tells you any of this stuff, right? Everyone just tells you the nitty-gritty technical stuff, right? On all those other channels and all those courses. But what really matters is understanding business impact. So every project brief that you finish, ask one question. What's the business impact. Technical tools are cool and shiny, especially when new ones drop, so it's very easy to get caught up building fancy solutions just because you can. But remember, you're not being paid to build the fanciest solution. You are being paid to give the business a return. That means making them money or saving them money. Full stop. Right? So every technical decision that you make needs to tie back to one of those two. Okay, step 4. Everything that I've shown you so far only works if you actually do it consistently. And this is where most people fall apart because they run the whole thing on motivation. I'll study every evening after work, and that works for about 2 to 3 days. Then you are tired, something comes up at home, and by week 2, you're telling yourself that you're lazy and you're not cut out for this. Motivation runs out for everyone, every single day. The people that break into cloud fast aren't more disciplined than you. They've just built a setup where the work happens whether they feel like it or not. So let me show you how to build that. Firstly, decide once and not every single day. So instead of waking up and going back and forth with yourself about whether you'll study today, you'll block it into your calendar when you're planning for the week. Pick your days, pick your time, and stick it in your calendar like it's a work meeting. That is it. So when the time comes around, you just show up because that's what's in your calendar. Secondly, know exactly what you're doing when you sit down. One of the biggest time wasters is sitting down to study and spending the first 20 minutes figuring out what to even work on. So write down what you're going to work on in advance. Pilots with tens of thousands of hours flying still run a checklist before every single flight. So you should also plan in advance for every session. Thirdly, have a backup plan for the bad days because they are coming. There will be evenings where you're exhausted from the work, and the last thing that you want to do is sit down and design a system. So decide now what the minimum looks like. Maybe it's just 20 minutes redrawing yesterday's architecture from memory. It's not impressive, but you showed up, and it's about keeping the momentum that you've built. Step 5 is don't walk to LA if you can fly. Now let me explain. Somewhere along the way, you've picked up this idea that figuring it all out alone is the way that you have to do it. It's almost like a bit of a pride thing, that getting a mentor, following someone else's structure, having accountability is kind of admission that you couldn't hack it yourself. And I see this the most in people who are already earning good money and are in tech right now. So they grind solo for 12, 18 months, 24 months, going around in a circle because asking for help feels like a weakness. Just take a look at anyone operating at the top of any field. The best athletes in the world all have coaches. LeBron James spends more than $1 million on his body per year. Getting guidance and coaching isn't admitting failure. It's about being efficient with two resources that you can never get back: your time and your energy. And think about it like this. You could walk to LA. It's technically possible. It'll take you months or even years. It'll be slow, it'll be painful, and there's a decent chance that you'll give up halfway through. But you could do it. Or you could just get on the next flight and be there in a few hours. Same destination, but a different trade-off. And I want to speak directly to those of you who are walking right now. You are already in tech or you're self-studying on the side. A bit of AWS here, some certification prep there. You've consciously made a decision to transition. But then Monday comes. You're back to work and the urgency just disappears because everything is fine, right? But be honest with yourself. Could you walk into an interview tomorrow and confidently talk through a production grade architecture that you've built? If not, then what you're doing isn't working. And deep down, you already know it. And this only ends in one of two ways. Either you wake up 3 years from now, still in the same role, still planning to move, or the decision gets made for you. Your team gets restructured and the email lands and now you're scrambling. So if the last 6 to 12 months of doing it this way hasn't got you to a cloud role, why do you think the next 6 to 12 months of doing the same thing will be any different? As they say, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So that's my 5-step system that'll help you break into cloud engineering faster than anyone else. And if you want my help to land a cloud role, link in the description below to book a call with my team. As always, I'm rooting for you. Go and become undeniable.